Hello, this is Jim,
I'm David.
and this is the video for our assignment number 2. As you can see on the screen, on the right hand side we have our server, on the left hand side we have two clients. The server is on localhost, it starts on port 9000, it has 8 ports, a data.txt to read in the data, an h.txt as the output. The clients also use localhost, and they are on 9000 and 9001. If both clients were on 9000 or 9001, whichever client entered the server second would need to wait for the first client to exit so it could be processed. This is part of the specifications of the application. When we start our server, it opens all the port and it listens, waiting for a command. When we start our first client, it asks for a username. This is part of the login command. We've set the login to be automatically run as the first thing to do when you reach the server, as it were in a real-world application. I've typed a username. It was set as status successful, which means it has added me to the program, and I can begin to enter messages. On the second client, I have also connected. I have done the second login, which has also been successful and is ready to accept commands. The server shows that both clients are in and they're ready to dish out commands. So let's dish out some commands. Start with the list so we can see everything we have. We have those 4 flights. Let's do a query down here from Miami to Orlando. It shows that we have 10 flights on the server. First we saw the list, now we see that we have 10 flights. Let's reserve some flights from Miami to Orlando. Let's say 6. We have seen that the seats have been reserved successfully from the server. On the server we see that we've asked for 6 out of 10. We have 4 seats remaining. Now let's do a query on the other client from Miami to Orlando. It shows that we have 4 seats remaining. Let's try to see what happens if we try to reserve more seats than what's available. We get an error message letting us know that there are not enough seats available on this flight for us to reserve 5. As we see, there's only 4 seats. So let's have this client return from Miami to Orlando one of the seats it has previously reserved. We see that it has returned, and the process knows you're being refunded for returning your seat. Let's go back to the first client, and now let's query again. We see that we have 5 seats. We're going to reserve the 5 seats. Successful. Now let's see how the list looks. As you notice, when I did the list, it shows all 4 flights and that we have 0 here for the Miami Orlando. Let's have the other server call list available, which is supposed to show a list of all the flights with the seats available. We see there's only 3 flights because we know that the flight from Miami to Orlando has no more seats available. Let's do list the first 2 flights. First 2 flights are from Miami to Orlando, and from Miami to LAX. Miami to Orlando has 0 seats available. Miami to LAX has 20, but because we're just doing list 2, we see the first 2. If we do list available, and we put 2, we'll see that we have the first 2 flights that have seats available, which is from Miami to LAX and from LAX to Miami. This covers all the basic commands from the client, except for a big one, the chat room. So let's enter the chat room. As we see, we were able to enter the chat room. We get a welcome message. The server shows that we have someone in the chat room. The chat, let's type something, for instance. We can see that it was sent to the server. We can see that the server was able to send it to the chat room, which includes this client, and now the client sees the message while the chat works from the server. Now let's see if we try to do a command while we're in the chat room. When we try to do a query, which is a command, we see that the query passes as a chat message, because when you are in the chat room, you are not allowed to access commands from the server. So let's exit the chat room. We were able to successfully leave the chat room. Let's test that out. We are now in the chat. We typed a message that was read as a command, which is not part of the command list. Therefore, we get an invalid command from the server error. Let's try typing a valid command like list. We see the list is here, and both clients are able to continue requesting commands. Now let's have one of our clients exit. We close the client, allowing this port to now be used by another client. And this is our code for assignment 2. Thank you very much.